Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever it is you are in the world, and welcome to another edition of Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York. Our scene today starts in the cabin, or not the cabin, but the apartment where Dallas tends to live when she's not staying at the cabin on set. It is the apartment where an important thing in her life has happened, at least as of recently. Um, but it is technically Owen and Abby's cabin or apartment, but since they aren't there more often than not these days, uh, Dallas has made it her kind of her sanctuary, so to speak. And currently, she is sitting on the couch waiting for Aiden to show up, who she kind of gave a text to talk about pack things. And yeah, she's sitting there in a pair of like athletic pants and a tank top with a with one of her like leather or hide vests kind of over her shoulders. But yeah, she waits and munches on a bag of Funyuns.
Yeah, eventually there'll be like a knock on the door or whatever. As Aiden is, standing outside, hands in his pockets, actually popping, opening up a pack of cigarettes as he's waiting.
Doors open.
Yeah, just walks in, popping the cigarette in his mouth as he's walking, like kicks the door closed behind him. Kind of just scans the room as well, not in an aggressive way, just kind of like looking up and down, looking around,
Only thing you're going to see that is out of the norm is the cabinets and counters are just stocked with snacks and food of all sorts of types.
Place?
Hmm?
Not a bad place. Cozy. Looks around,
She kind of shrugs and smiles. Keeps me and my other half happy. Gives us a place to unwind, I guess.
Oh, I see, yeah. We just nod, yeah. Just kind of gives her a matter-of-factly nod. Looks like an apartment for two, anyway. Just nods.
Technically, it'd be an apartment for three, well, four, but Owen and Abby are never around anymore. They do a lot of traveling between here and the farm.
Makes sense. It's nod, that makes sense. Shrug. And we'll walk over and pull up a chair and sit down as he's lighting a cigarette and look at her. So what you want to talk about?
Our pack.
He'll nod. Take off his jacket and gently lay it on the chair so he's kind of leaning against it. All right. Well, let's hear your thoughts then.
There's a lot of things going on with us right now. Balian is... We don't even know if he's coming back at this point.
Just a nod.
And with really me, you, and 10 Point, being visible out in the sept, we need a face of leadership.
You can nod again. Taking a drag.
I've proven I can lead a battle, but I cannot lead a pack. Not yet, anyway.
Well, that's something I have in motion. I'm going to be meeting with Banshee soon. Have a talk. See what direction we're going in. And if it means what I think it means one of us is walking back out as alpha.
Points senior to me as far as the time spent with this pack. If you're thinking about making her beta.
I was thinking about making you beta.
She'll kind of narrow her eyes a bit. Sure, if that's what you want.
Lean back. I mean, think about it. 10 points are good. 10 points good, but her role as an Omega is second to none. She's... You'll think again as he rubs his chin. She fits the role. And I need someone who, while I can be guile and subtle and loud and punchy, I need someone who gives me a battle wisdom, gives me advice. And you're Fenrir. I think you do that better than most. So I'm giving you a shot if you want it.
She'll open up a Band-Aid tin and pull out a joint and light it. And she'll sit back, take a deep inhale, hold it for a minute, and then blow out the smoke. You know, you and I don't see eye to eye on a lot of things.
No, we don't. But when it comes to pack business, we both realize that the pack goals are in line. We may not see eye to eye on things, but we both have the same interests. Doesn't mean I'm not going to be open to you giving me advice or much needed guidance if I require it. Same as myself to you. I mean, we work well as a unit enough as it is.
Just want to make sure. Last thing we need is for either of us to get into this prospective situation and be caught off guard by our thoughts or opinions that are expressed from time to time.
I think we both know each other enough that if we want to say things, we'll say it. I mean, there are some issues that we're going to have to sort, like mainly you getting back in the Guardians is something we're going to need to work on.
She takes a really long sigh in through her, or breath in through her teeth, and she just kind of shakes her head.
Now, I've been talking to William White about it, and we might be able to get you back in. Depends on what Murder Hobo says, but
it's not
I have
so
my
much. It's not a matter of being let back in or not. It's a matter of whether or not I think that the warder is worthy of being a leader.
You kind of lean back. Whether he's worthy or not, or no, you can't voice that opinion publicly, Dallas. And from what the whispers are saying, to most people it looks like you did an open challenge on desertation during wartime.
I try to get him to see reason.
No, not.
If somebody wants to constantly think that every time you give a dissenting voice, that is somehow an open challenge, go talk to a Philodox. That's what I would recommend.
But the problem is, while that may work on an Adrian, it would certainly work on a Foster and Clay if this is an Athro. And most certainly Water of the Seps. You knew we've seen what Jacob is like.
You trying to infer that Jacob would side against us, or me in particular?
Jacob, let's be honest here. That War Council Jacob made a challenge that was blatantly in favour of William White. We all know it. Nobody likes to say it, but we all know it.
Jacob doesn't want any strength for the Conservatives.
Jacob wants what Jacob wants. You know he's keeping a file on everybody. So what we're doing is we're giving him no air to breathe on. So by you showing a bit of, we'll call it self-reflection, and rejoining the Guardians, puts us in a bit more of a light. So when Jacob comes at us with fire, he'll find nothing to light it off of. Because after all, keeping files when matters are already settled, well, that's not how we do things. Liberal or no.
I'll think about it.
Kind of lean forward. Something you need to think about seriously.
Believe me, it's something I do take seriously. I wouldn't have voiced my opinion if I didn't take it seriously.
A nod. You kind of take a drag. Apart from that, that's in the works, but we'll see how that goes. And there is the matter of Saoirse. You'll kind of lean back. What's your opinion on that?
We all knew that with the death of Teresa, that pact was doomed to fall apart. Teresa kept Kumba motivated, kept him from doing anything too foolish, or at least was able to handle the fallout.
One could say, what does that say about Saoirse as a leader then?
A Garu can be a good Garu and good in their auspice and not be cut out to be a leader.
But she wants to be. I think her actions speak loud and clear of that.
Wanting something and being qualified to do it are two totally separate things. I would love to be able to be as subtle and good with my words to make them a weapon as you are. But I'm not good at it. I may never be good at it.
You'll smile at her kind of softly. Then listen to my advice, and you'll get better at it.
But as far as Saoirse goes, having an Adrian within our pack would be a boon to us. Having a long-tenured Galliard such as her in our pack would do nothing but benefit us. But it would certainly be looked at sideways if we just let her walk in.
Good. I'm glad we're on the same page on that. I'm not. And also, there is the problem. I know you mightn't understand this as much, but she did abandon that pack. And Alana is her family. Now, most people don't know that, but to most people, it looks like she abandoned them. And what is a Fianna who abandons their family?
Complicated. And she'll take the joint and take a long, deep drag off of it and then blow out the smoke. And she'll set it down in the ashtray.
You nod. You two are different, though. You went to a different tribe. You weren't a Garu. You weren't an Adrian. You hadn't committed to Stag's cause. You chose your path long before you even had the time to consider down the chain. She knows our laws, she knows our ways, our customs, but yet she still chose to. She made that choice without telling any of us that she made it.
If you judge her too harshly, you have to judge me. Whether or not I was part of the tribe, officially or not. I abandoned my half-brother. I abandoned my father. I abandoned my entire blood family.
I did for a while. But then again, I gave you an opportunities, and you're now my packmate. In fact, you're probably going to be my beta. I give people chances, is what I'm saying. So, I want her in, but I don't want her to walk in. I want her to earn the same way I earned, the same way you earned. I want her to earn her place in this pack. We have to do anything for family. And so far from what I've seen, I would put it this way, Dallas. If she was in Silvertara and she pulled that, that is a cause for a death.
Maybe. Certainly a rite of ostracism.
Imagine an entire sept looking at you like you are nothing but a... It'll be like planting a curse on you. Abandoning something like that. We can't do it. Particularly ones that Adrian. You at least have had the excuse that you were young, not even part of the tribe. There is a certain amount of stare, but uneducated. She is educated. Do you see what I mean? Her crime is far worse. And you have proven yourself a competent Fenrir and a competent Guru and earned your place among your people. You don't pretend to be a Fianna. You are a Get of Fenris.
I understand your meaning.
So, in the spirit of we follow Fianna Totem, but we have a Get of Fenris Beta, I am thinking. I think you should talk to her.
I have ideas on how that can go, but I'm going to warn you it could be dangerous.
What would your people do in this situation?
Some might call her a coward, abandoning her pack, disbanding it because it was too broken, letting go of convictions that she had. She would have to prove herself to not be a coward.
I'm gonna lean for it. That's not a bad idea. What have you got in mind?
How long has it been since the Sept saw a true challenge, a true fight?
Well, the hellhole. Smirk a bit. Just a tiny bit.
That's not what I mean. Every time that we have had challenges amongst our own people, it's been with blunted weapons and fists. She's an Adrian. She's going to join this pack, and I am to be your beta. I'm going to hold everyone up to a higher standard.
Also puts a certain degree to yourself as well.
Dying to make one strong. That is the way of a Fenrir.
But you're still dead.
Death comes for us all, Aiden. One way or the other.
True, but you don't go willingly seeking it. Give her a smile.
That is very subjective. And somewhat narrow-minded, and you know that.
I'm just saying. A hardcore challenge is something admirable, but damage that neither can walk away from, how is that going to serve us?
I would see it as the right of war among my people. She doesn't have to win. She has to survive. I am not going to come at her like I would a spiral. But I would come at her with claws and teeth. I would try to injure her.
And you think such a liberal sept would accept such a thing?
The Sept will just have to deal with it. If Saoirse dies, or I die in this challenge, it is honorable. If Skavgard were still here, he would approve, and you know it.
He would, but Skovgard isn't here.
No.
My advice, go to the Mistress of Challenges herself and discuss it with her. Explain your case. After all, she'd understand, and she probably might even know it. If it is a right of challenge.
It's not an official right of war. That's for Fenrir and Fenrir only. But I respect her enough to at least make this test in that spirit. Going to the Mistress Challenge, I think it's taking it a bit too far when this is between us and her.
But make her aware if it's happening, I would suggest. Make her just calmly aware, rather than them stumbling in blindly, asking who, what, where, and how. But make her aware. So when Mr. Jacob Clay comes a knocking, well, you've gotten the most highest rank. It's approval. Think before throwing, Dallas. That way, you can do whatever the fuck you want, as long as you have their approval. He can't say otherwise, can he? Now, I like the idea. It's a Fenrir way. Make sure you employ the lesson behind it, a lesson that she failed to realize. And then you really have her by the balls, because after all, didn't she mock you so viciously on your fostering challenge?
That's the idea. She smirks.
Kind of lean forward a bit. So you're doing this out of why do you want to do this? Sell it to me. You lean back.
Saoirse is a sister. She may not be blood, pack, or even tribe. But we fought together on the battlefield, and we have been there for each other in our times of need. Over the past 4 weeks, something's changed. I don't know exactly what it is. But like I told you before, it's time to grow up. And I need to do right by Saoirse if she's going to join this pack. I need to do right by you and 10 Point if she's going to join this pack. And if that means I have to push her, if I have to make her look at every horrible truth that she knows is there, she can make an informed decision on whether or not she's even willing to join this pack.
Nod. All right.
The physical aspect of it is simply to prove that she's not slighting and that she is willing to put her life on the line to commit for this pack.
Nod. As in a ruin, you think this is the best thing?
She actually takes a minute to consider it. I'm not going to say as an Arun. An Arun's not fit to judge somebody in that capacity. As a Get, though, I do.
As a Get. Nod. One could make the argument, though, that she's a Fianna and she would not understand your ways.
Did you not say that the Fianna are a warrior tribe?
He spread his hands. It's not me saying it. I'm saying people could make the argument. I'm testing you, Dallas. Nod, smiling slightly. I'm testing you. One's argument should always be convicted. Should be ready to counteract. I'm testing you to see how much progress you're making, and you're doing well.
If someone says that their ways are not our ways, I would argue to them that our pack is Fianna and Fenrir exclusively.
He'll nod. Good. Don't presume it's me saying it, Dallas. He'll say very gently. It's what my job. Devil's advocate. People are going to say things. But no, I like it. But do as taking suggestion what I asked. Talk to the Mistress of Challenges, work it out the way so nobody steps on your toes. That seems the best logical conclusion. And if she's worthy, well, we'll welcome her with open arms and Dana's good grace. The question is, he'll lean forward right into Dallas's face. Not with that, like right, but like looking right into her face. Do you trust her?
She looks reflective. Matters of the heart. That's what she's been through. That's what she's going through. That's why she left or disbanded her pack. If we didn't trust her, that would be tantamount to saying we do not trust ourselves. Because each one of us has been through something similar. We've made the unpopular choice, or at least made a choice that wouldn't be popular. You had Darcy, I had Karina. 10 Point has had a multitude of traumas and moments to stand up, even though she knew she would take a beating for it. Saoirse has made a decision that some would view poorly. I'd say she'd fit right in with the rest of us, as long as she's capable of learning from it.
But see, the difference is, I made my choice and chose our ways. 10 Point came through. You, I'm waiting to see what you'll do, but I think you'll pick the right choice. The difference is, Dallas, and this is the big one, when approached by it, and when questioned by it, she didn't see like she had done anything wrong.
Is that any different when we first had this ordeal about Karina?
You still knew the weight it carried.
I did.
You still accepted the burden.
I did.
However, but you didn't shy away from it. You didn't try and dodge the question. You stood at me straight and told me what was happening. I'm just saying she's flighty. And I worry about commitment, which is why I'm wondering why you should test it. After all, you have proven yourself the most. In terms of being put in the forefront of that, I think you are the perfect candidate to test her commitment.
And that's why I want to have a true test of survival. That's why I want to rack her with every doubt that she has. If you can pull that out of her and give me bits of advice, she kind of winks at him. It's more ammunition.
Saoirse is defensive. Very defensive. She cannot accept when she's wrong. She will look for every avenue to change the subject. Let's start there and go deep. And do not hold back. Whatever you do, don't be afraid. As long as you challenge just and fairly and do your thing, and the right master says the creed is okay, never hold back. Because if you're holding back, well, then what's the point?
I intend to break her.
Good. Good. You'll kind of stroke his chin. No, I like that. That can work. Just make sure it's done in the right way. He doesn't say to himself, now, you get a place?
I've been looking, and you should know. She sits back, and this whole thing about Saoirse kind of almost rolls off her shoulders at this point, as that business is pretty much concluded as far as what they need to discuss on it. And she reaches over and pulls out that folder of all like the ads and whatnot. It's not going to be cheap living in downtown. Especially if we want enough rooms to fit me, you, Saoirse, and potentially Banshee, if she's going to remain in the fold.
Yeah. 10 can stay in one of our rooms. I think she pretty much does already.
Well, this is something I'm also been needing to talk to you about, but I didn't want to bring it up in front of the pack until I talk to you about it.
Yeah, you look over at her. Yeah, what is it?
Karina and I are getting a place.
You lean back. Karina and you, are you?
It's serious between us. But I think you already knew that.
You shrug. I mean, you know my opinion on her.
I know it's not one that will likely change. Hoping it's one that may eventually soften.
You stare at Dallas.
She's not like the other ones.
We all say that.
No, Aiden. I'm not the Ard Rye. I know what I'm getting into with her, and I know who she is.
There is a ice cold stare from Aiden. Do you think my Ardry wouldn't be?
I know what they say. And if that's what you're worried about...
Take a breath.
I'm not some king on high. And Karina is not a politician or a strategist looking for an ally.
I'll put it this way. You kind of look down at the map. I never put Darcy in conflict with my pack. Or I never brought her in. As long as Karina stays that way, then I have no issue. Now, that doesn't stop political things being organized for this pack, and you may have to do some things you don't like, and if you know Karina can work through that, then great. But as long as she does not interfere with this pack or come between it, and I'm holding you to that, then we have no issue. You can do whatever you want, but remember where your loyalty lies first. I did when I chose with Darcy.
I'm not going to forsake my pack. Or anyone.
Good. Then I should have no problem. You just nod. No, he doesn't sound nasty. He's just very businesslike.
I would, though. And she'll look up at him. It would mean a lot to me if you two tried. I'm not going to force you into that, and I'm not going to press the issue, but if I'm being honest, I plan on her being in my life long term. She's not going to interfere with my Gaian duties. Any of them. Then she kind of gives him that look of like, she's talking about, obviously, breeding.
He'll lean back. And what would happen if you're presented the same thing that I was presented, Dallas? What would you do?
I'm not going to enter into a political marriage, if that's what you mean.
Even if it benefits all of us.
On the surface, something like that might benefit us. But I don't have the clout, the guile, or even the political savvy to be able to pull something like that off.
I'm saying, Dallas, would you make that sacrifice? I'm not talking about politics. I'm not talking about anything like that. Would you choose her or your honor? That's what I'm asking. If it really came down to it, Dallas, that's what I'm wondering. This should be, you don't have to answer. It's a question that has a lot of time to think about. But that's what I've been wondering since I've met Karina.
It depends on what we would stand to gain, then. What you would stand to gain. And she kind of gestures broadly when she says you, kind of indicating more pack than.
Oh, yeah. Of course. He nods slowly.
But I do love her.
And why are you so concerned if me and her get along?
Aid in your family. You are my brother. 10-Point has been close with me, but you have gone out of your way to forge a relationship with me, to make me family. I'm closer to you than I am anyone else, and I know that if 10-Point feels that I want her to get along with Karina, she will make nice. She'll pretend. You won't. You'll take everything and do everything at face value. I know you don't like her. I know you are afraid of what might happen to me. Believe me, her and I have had conversations about that first meeting. I know more about her nature than anybody else does. And I know that she takes every possible step to make sure that that will never happen again. Just as you or I would take any possible step to ensure that we never frenzied on our mates, our kin, our family. And she kind of gives him like that, that look of like kind of following it up with like a like a yes as a question, so to speak. Like, you know that we would do that, yeah.
Yeah, he'd nod. Yeah, he'd nod. Yeah.
But it's important to me to have my family together. Her and you at least being able to find some common ground.
I told you, Dallas. Look up. Putting a cigarette out onto like into the, basically just like lightly into the palm of his hand, kind of rubbing it. Your free time is your own. As long as she doesn't interfere with the pack, I'm happy. But I can't make common ground with her because she puts you at risk. And she puts us at risk. I can't do it. And I know what's going to happen, Dallas, at the end of it all, no matter how much you all avoid it. I've been back to that apartment. I've seen what my passions led me to. I paid my price for my honor.
You and I walk similar but different paths. You think that everything is going to end up the same way as you. You chose to enter into that deal with the Von Evericks. You made that choice. If you had decided before you had made any vows that Darcy meant more to you than a political alliance, you could have made that choice. And it would have been just as honorable.
He looks up quite coldly then.
I'm not bemoaning your choice. You did what was right for you. You did what you wanted.
He grit his teeth a bit.
She'll reach out and put a hand up on his knee. I'm not asking you this as a Garu. I'm asking that you try. Make the effort. That if we have to be in the same room, that you can coexist with her.
She's not coming to our pack place, Dallas.
No. She immediately, like a snap reaction, it's very clear that, yeah, she's not pushing for that.
He'll lean forward so we don't have to coexist. I know she's there. I know you have your time. I'm not going to interfere with that. But don't ask me to coexist with something I hate.
Dallas sits back. She looks sad, but she looks like she's accepted it.
You have your time and you do what you need to do. And as long as she doesn't interfere with our back, I'm happy. But don't push me to do something I won't enjoy, because it'll end one way. And the decision that one of us will make will split this thing apart. And if you want that, well, then I'll go meet her and I'll give her my warning. But I don't think you'd want that.
I have an idea of what that would be.
No, you really don't. Not until you've lost what I've lost. He'll take another final drag of the cigarette.
Well, I've made my effort for it. That's enough.
So long as she doesn't interfere with our business, I won't interfere with hers. I've no interest. Whatever path you choose is your own, and as much as I'd like to help you go guide it, you'll make that choice. As long as the rest of us are not dragged down by it, spread his hands. You're free to do what you wish.
without judgment?
There will always be judgment. And I won't say, I'm not going to lie to you and say, no, everything's perfectly fine. I will always look at you, watching and waiting to see what you'll choose. Because you haven't chosen yet. Not really. Not until it really comes down to it. So I'm waiting. Whatever you choose, I'll be there. No matter what. But I'm waiting to see what you'll pick first. And you can tell her I said that. There's no issue. But you can tell her all, if you want to tell her this whole conversation, you can. I have no problem with her knowing my opinion. I'm not afraid.
She knows your opinion. Believe me.
Oh, I don't think she does.
She'll look up at him. She's not stupid. She's not oblivious. She may not know the exact extent of what you feel or what you would say, but she's aware that you don't like her.
He'll lean back. Raised eyebrow. So she clocked that I I wouldn't hesitate to put a knife through her eye.
I think she knows that if she was perceived as a threat to my safety, you'd be the first one stepping up to the plate to take a crack at her.
If she's a threat to your safety, and if she does harm you, well, she won't even know I'm there. But tell her there's no issue, so long as she doesn't harm the rest of us, or with her relationship for you. That's my warning. But there will be no friendships. There will be no compromise. She has your life, you have yours, or your apartment, whatever. But it's separate from us. Because that's the way it has to be. In order for you to ever have what you want out of this. It's a grim... You shrug. You wanted me to be honest, Alice. I respect you enough to give you my opinion.
I know.
And I don't say this out of nastiness or spite. I'm just giving you what I feel. And I'm giving you the boundaries that you're going to need for you if you want you two to last realistically.
Just answer me one question.
Stare at her.
Do you know why it is important to me, or at least why it was? Knowing that it can't happen. Do you understand why?
He'd slowly nod.
If you can't support it directly, I hope at least that you will do what you can to support it indirectly. And if that means simply something we don't talk about, as long as it's not a problem. And kind of just leaves it open-ended at that.
He'll look down and smile. As long as it doesn't interfere, and she never comes up. As long as I don't have her interfering with my pack's lives. And Karina's no issue to me. Otherwise than that, she's your mate. You do what you want.
She'll nod. So in other news, when's your Von Everett girl going to start putting out children?
Raises an eyebrow. Excuse me?
She'll lean forward with a smirk. There's one thing I've always wanted, Aiden. I've wanted to be an ant.
Shake his head. Yeah, well, maybe we should worry about getting us a place to live so we can actually have the kids running around before I start having the kids. He's standing up. I think we might need to worry about that before we start popping out babies.
Isn't she rich?
She is, but I'm not going to ask her for too much help. I don't want to put too much pressure on the kin. They have enough already. I'll talk to her and see what she says, but minimal involvement from the kin. I get the impression they've been put through enough, and here, well, they'll push back.
Maybe. I know all of them won't.
Just
not all of them.
If you can get them to give a hand, that's fine. But just keep it minimal. For now. There's a few things going around, and I don't like the last sound of it.
What is going on?
There's some fella named Tyler. Speaking of how the kin weren't shown respect at the moot, how nobody cares that they died. How it's all about the guru.
You know, it always amazes me about these dissenting voices is that they're all fine to accept our protection and to take some sort of pride in the fact that we mourn them, that we lose our minds when someone attacks them. But if they don't get each and everything they want or what they think they deserve, then it's a problem.
Oh, a kin had died. Maybe some of them feel justified, and the loss of someone can spur someone's emotions. We have to carefully balance it. Give them a reason to even internally quell the dissension voices. Make them remember what we've done for them.
My kin know their place.
It does good to remind them of how much you care, Dallas. You'd be surprised at the result you get back.
I have never once made them feel as that they are not important to me.
But do it to other kin of your tribe.
I'm not worried about the Get kin. I'm not too much worried about the Fianna kin. But all the others. Just kind of shake her head and then kind of move her lower jaw from side to side. Hoggies especially.
You smile. Well, when you have one who claims he's a Fenrir, she'll smirk over at him. At her.
She takes a breath, and then she picks up the joint and takes a really long hit off of it. And then lets it out.
Did you hear what? Did I tell you this? That he was all about for killing the worm and Spirals can't be redeemed and all that. And he's a coggy.
I heard about him praying in front of the shrine of Fenrir before the hellhole.
And was he punished for that? Or is he talked to?
At the time, no. There were
Must.
bigger fish to fry, let's be honest.
You think? Rub his chin. Maybe you should inform the other kin, the Coggy, the new one. Maybe you should have a word with him about what his tribe mate's getting up to and see how he thinks.
I could talk to Colin. Just kind of shrug. He's an Arun after all. God, there's 3 Kagi Aruns in this set. I would trade. I'd trade Simon for at least for get anything.
Coggies are warriors. I've seen William White kill a sparrow in one head.
William White is a hell of a warrior. Simon is a bumbling idiot. And that's going to get him or others killed one day.
Well, then wouldn't it be your responsibility to oversee his training?
That's William White's responsibility.
Maybe you could work with him.
Aiden, I know how this would go down.
Think of it this way. You lean forward, just putting her arm around her. Think of it this way. From what I remember, the man... Didn't Simon fought in Chicago, didn't he? From what I hear, he killed a thunderworm. But he's reckless. And a thunderworm is no mean feat. Skovgard did that. You'll think. But he's reckless. So, if you can balance him with that power and raw power he has, think of the warrior he would make. But think of the person he would credit for making that. You. And who would look at that? The warder would. The wormfoe would. They would look at Dallas as a leader.
Dallas is going to hit Aiden, and she's going to shrug out of his shoulders and look at him with this odd look. I don't need glory in that way. A Fenrir does not need glory in that way. Skovgard would never have taken credit for me.
Skovgard would have been proud that you guided an Arun to the right path based on your teachings of Fenrir. Skovgard would be incredibly proud the fact you, under your leadership and guidance, showed that a powerful warrior is only as good as their head. And it might be a much needed lesson for both of you.
Hayden, before we could even consider this, he has to decide what he is. And I don't think there's anybody better suited on the sept than the #1 Ragabash.
Don't throw this responsibility at me.
I'm not throwing all of the responsibility on you, but if you're going to try and manipulate me into training this motherfucker, you are going to have some part in it. Believe me, Aiden Lynch Krause. She'll point at him with a smirk on her face.
He'll lean against the wall and fold his arms. I'd much rather you do it with William White. I think I'm already doing my little bit of ragabashing, I think, from what I saw. In fact, shrug. I think I've just done my part perfectly. Because you've just agreed to train him.
You love putting words in people's mouth, don't you?
You said it, not me.
I said he would have. She's just going to pick up like a handful of Funyuns and throw it at him.
He smiles as he ducks down mockingly. Just talk to him and train him. Be patient.
If you find him hanging upside down from a tree, naked and beaten nearly to death,
Dallas.
that I cannot be held responsible for my actions. Because if he says, "Oh, it's so good to work with a Get sister again,"
Well, then you do what you do best. If he says that stupid shit, but don't go looking for it. If he makes that mistake, you react to it, but don't go looking for it. Work with will. Let it happen naturally.
Aiden.
In fact, you don't even have to work with Will. Why don't you bring the new guy along? They're both cleats. You're fostering. Be the example.
Oh, my head already hurts from just the thought of the stupid that I'll have to deal with.
Hey, they could say the same about you in some retrospects. You lean back, smirking, rising.
Are you trying to get me to punch you? Because that's how you get punched.
I am just saying. Some
I
people
am just
some
saying.
people can claim things. I've heard some people talk about you.
Mm.
I'm sure you'd be interested in what they said, but you know, I don't have to tell you.
Because I know it's going to make you happy, and because you put it out there, it means you want to tell me.
It doesn't make me happy, actually. I got in the kid's face for telling me.
Well, then let's hear it.
People have heard you say you don't need glory because you don't really have any.
Well, it's not their opinions that I need.
He'll look down and nod slightly, but twists his head at her. It very much is. What you say, this nation is built on the word of mouth, Dallas. This whole fucking thing. Our tales, our glory. You want that glory, no matter how much you seek it, deny it. The fact that they're saying about you, it irks me massively.
And who says it? Out of curiosity.
I've heard it from several kin and Guru.
Let's start with the guru.
Why?
I'm interested.
But why? Because this is you picking up your hammer and going around and beating the crap out of somebody. What would that solve?
Just gonna reach out and put a hand on his shoulder. Is it you that once told me that you need to go in with as much intel as you can possibly get into any situation, social or physical?
Do nod. Is that really why you're doing it?
And we both know that there's a personal stake in it, so just cut the crap.
All right.
You know where this is coming from.
Just smile. Standing up a bit, kind of like putting his hand on her shoulders. Felix, Dallas, not Dallas, sorry. Saoirse, Felix, Saoirse, William White. Simon, fucking Murder Hobo. All those people at that fostering challenge. Yeah, them. Why do you think Saoirse and I wanted you to lead that mission? Earn your glory?
And how many of it wasn't from the fostering challenge?
Felix, Simon, William White. What was her name again? Katya, Jacob.
Katya.
She was in Chicago. Her pack killed Her pack went out. One of them killed a thunderworm. She went in there. She's proven herself. She made fostering as well, from what I hear, and she did exemplary. Interesting term for the books.
Well, I didn't think this was going to happen, but here we are. Anybody using this thing now? No, they're not. Did you do a scene at like 8:30 this morning? Jesus.
No, I just put the scene end thing because nobody did the scene end joke. Because I know Robbie would have an OCD fit if we didn't.
That he would. He would have a fucking aneurysm. What is today? We're on a crescent?
Crescent, yeah, I believe. Yeah, it's crescent.
7?
Yep. You're good.
She gets a little bit. She gets slightly psychotically annoyed. But
you kind of take a few ginger just steps back, you know, because she's in a rune.
She just kind of looks at him. I'm good. Just annoyed. Fucking Katya, of all people.
She proved herself.
She is always going to wear the mark of shame.
Among your people, yes.
And that's where my concern is. You don't have to see her in any other light, but I do.
But then you kind of lean back and think, like click the roof of his mouth with his tongue. But wouldn't that not motivate you to be better then?
I am better. And
Then
she'll just kind of smirk and
then show it.
The hell do you mean?
You lean forward. That whole hill fight, what did you learn?
I learned not to hold on to the past. I learned that a fighting force is only as strong as their collective will can be.
Mm.
And I learned that in order to win, sometimes you have to be willing to go up against overwhelming odds.
And as a leader of that mission, how do you think you did?
That question makes Dallas look uncomfortable. Not like it's hard to explain, but she doesn't like self-evaluating. It's something she definitely shies away from because she doesn't want to ever oversell herself. But she also knows that being too humble isn't a Fenrir thing sometimes, or most of the time. So she looks at Aiden, and through the pack link, like all those thoughts kind of just come pouring out. Like, you know, she thinks she did well. She knows she did well because they made it back alive. The majority of them made it back alive. They defeated a very powerful foe, and everything that she's heard about the various campaigns, they were the ones that were in the most peril. But she doesn't want to say anything out loud that oversells it. So she just kind of remains mute because she can't really convey it in the words that she wants to convey it in.
He'll nod. Slowly and kind of look up, rubbing his face. You did do well. But there are some things that I'd worth taking another look at if I were you. Overall, mission was successful, but there are a few things that you need to look at.
She'll nod and she'll kind of do the walk and talk thing as she goes over to the kitchen and starts to make herself make them both like a cold cut sandwich because she's hungry.
And if you can tell me what they are, well, I'll be impressed.
Should have to think about that one a little bit. And I'm gonna roll her intelligence enigmas.
Mm-hmm.
Because out of character, I have some ideas, but I want to make sure that she would make sure that I get it right because honestly,
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Oh yeah,
treading on
no.
the. She would probably know her own shortcomings in that. So 2 successes.
Little nod. But from what she's getting hinting at Aiden, there was 2 instances from Aiden where he was criticism. One, Aiden frenzied and broke rank. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the reason why he did it is because his best friend died right in front of him. But he still broke rank. Dallas never
Mm-hmm.
had a word with him about that. Second, Dallas wavered in terms of when the line was pushed and Aiden had to rally the line. Those are the 2 things that Aiden has noticed people have pointed out, and he's noticed. He's wondering how Dallas is carrying it, how she's wanting to talk about it. He's almost like waiting for her to make the first move on it.
She'll just take a bite of the sandwich she made. She'll put one sandwich in front of Aiden as she sits back on the counter a bit and thinks about it. I didn't say anything to you about you succumbing to the rage. Breaking ranks. I understood the stimulus. And we came out on top in the end.
A nod. And the second?
When we were pushing up the hill, me, you, and Saoirse, I was injured enough that I had to pull back.
He'll nod. Not a girl. He'll lean forward, walk over as he takes a bite and kind of puts it down. We'll kneel down in front of Dallas and take her hands very gently. Never be afraid to point out something to somebody, no matter how close you are to them.
She'll shrug and she'll set down the sandwich and look at Aiden. I worry about you sometimes.
Why is that?
Your rage, your passions.
Well, you'll be happy to know I did something with that.
I know. But you put us in danger. There was nothing that could be done about it at that point. And everyone there is more than able to empathize and understand why you lost yourself to the fire in your blood. I know it would be like asking a fish to be a cat to say that you need to temper your passions. Stag wouldn't want you to temper them.
You give her a smile. You reach up and peck her on the forehead. Now you're learning, hen. Just next time, don't be afraid to say it. And what happened for the second one, admit your failings, admit your faults, you take it, you learn to recover it. But that's what I was there for, to be your beta. That's why that second one is nowhere near as grave. Because that is what the beta is for. But for your own self. That's my worry about you. is that you try to be and chase every glory you can find and not care for yourself and your surroundings. So take the lesson from it and grow. Otherwise, it was good. You pulled yourself out of the fire. And you brought everyone home safe, more or less.
Not everyone.
I know, but this is war. We can only be so lucky.
Work with Simon a bit. Tell me when you think he's ready. I'll work with... Shit, I forgot Bob's character's name.
Colin.
Colin. I'll work with Colin.
You just give her a gentle smile. Just give her hand a squeeze. Thanks, Dallas. The smile, just that ever little cheeky, bright smile.
Why is every conversation we have so fucking bipolar? She bites out of her sandwich a huge bite.
You smile. Because we're both passionate people. And plus, you will never admit half the time that I'm right.
Well, I'm particularly worried that if I do, Aiden, your head will inflate so much due to your ego that you'll literally explode.
Listen, Hen. I made him lynch your house. He'll smirk. I can handle anything.
We'll see about that.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best place to end that. Probably the two of them meeting.
Yeah. So, as Derry, who was clearly brought over, is losing his goddamn mind in the background.
Derry!
Derry, you're no use behind the door! We'll call that a scene. Thank you, players, for playing, and thank you, watchers, for watching.